Hey there, thank you so much for signing up for my go-to Diastasis Recti video guide and workout where we're going to talk all things Diastasis Recti. And I'm also going to be giving you my favorite workout, something you can do every single day to begin closing the gap. Now, as a mother of four myself and a fitness expert, naturally, the questions I get asked the most are all around postpartum health and self-care. The top question has everything to do with how do I heal? What do I do with Diastasis Recti? That's why we're here today. Now, if you are here right now and you don't really know what Diastasis Recti is, the first thing I want you to know is I don't want you to beat yourself up over something you can't control. Know that 67% of women, postpartum women, actually suffer from Diastasis Recti. So you and I are in really good company. Okay, so let's talk about what Diastasis Recti is. When we get pregnant, our stomachs expand, our abdomen expands, those muscle walls, the two parallel muscles actually begin to separate in most women, and then when we have the baby, it comes back, and that connective tissue is so weakened between the two muscles that those abs never actually go back together. What happens is as moms, we begin to get what we call the pooch. It's a result of the separated abs. It's also a result of the weakened core. And with that pooch, we think, oh my gosh, I need to do more sit-ups. I need to work out harder. I need to eat healthier. When really more sit-ups, working out harder, eating healthier might actually exacerbate the condition as a whole. You might actually have Diastasis Recti that you're only making worse from doing more sit-ups. So it's important that we focus on whether or not, number one, we need to figure out, do you have Diastasis Recti? If you do have it, all right, what are the first steps to curing it? And that's what we're here today to do. So the very first thing I want to do is I want to walk you through how to identify whether or not you have Diastasis Recti using my simple at-home self-check. Okay, so here we go doing the Diastasis Recti self-check. Before we get started, I'm going to remind you, if you have any kind of abdominal pain or anything that you're worried about, please see your doctor to make sure it's not something else. If they rule out that there's a bigger issue, this is a very simple way to diagnose yourself and see if you have Diastasis Recti. All right, so first thing I want you to do is lie on the ground, back flat, and heels flat on the floor. You're gonna take one hand, put it behind your neck. The other hand, this is the hand you're gonna use to test the width of your Diastasis Recti gap, or the separation between your abdominal muscles. So take your left hand or one of your hands, fingers pointed down flat on your belly. You're going to lift your chin. You do not want to tuck your chin. You do not want to raise it too high. Just lift it a little off the ground. Then you're going to roll your upper body up off the ground, pressing your hand or your fingers down into that abdominal gap, like I'm doing right now. So I have about a 2-finger gap right now, about a finger and a half or 2 gap. Diastasis Recti is 2 inches or wider, or 2 fingers or wider. And then you're gonna lay back down. So if you feel separation when you do that, you do indeed have Diastasis Recti. All right, so now that we have the self-check out of the way, and you know you have Diastasis Recti and you are a candidate for this workout, let's talk about something real fast. So you might be here because you've had babies and because you've been pregnant, but you might also be here and you haven't had babies. You need to know pregnancy isn't necessarily the only cause of Diastasis Recti, believe it or not. So 60% of women that do get pregnant actually end up with Diastasis Recti within the first 6 weeks of pregnancy or giving birth. 30% of the women are still struggling from Diastasis Recti 1 year postpartum, but know this is the result of your stomach expanding so much that those abs separate, the connective tissue in the middle weakens, and your stomach protrudes through. So whether you are pregnant or whether you just have gained and held a lot of weight over the years, you could have Diastasis Recti. Also, Diastasis Recti can be caused as a result of being sedentary for a period of time, jumping into exercise too quickly after with a weak core, or simply performing core and ab exercises improperly. So know that you don't have to be a female. You don't have to have had babies. It doesn't matter. You are susceptible to diastasis recti no matter what your situation is. Now, let's talk about the risk factor for childbearing women. So if you are pregnant, if you are planning to get pregnant, or you have had babies, here are the risk factors. First, if you've had at least one baby, the more babies you have, the more susceptible you are to diastasis recti. Secondly, if you are having pregnancies that are close together, you're not actually giving your body a chance to heal between, and you are far more susceptible. The next thing I want you to keep in mind, if you are over 35, I fall into this category now. If I have another baby, which I already have diastasis recti, but if you are over 35, our bodies just don't heal the same as they did when they were younger. So know that you are susceptible to diastasis recti. If you are having large babies, or if you have large babies, the bigger the baby, the more your stomach is expanding and the higher the risk of your abs separating. So big babies, multiple births if you're having twins or triplets or quadruplets. God bless you if you are having quadruplets. There is a much, much greater chance of you getting diastasis recti as a result of your pregnancies. And then last but not least, one thing I want you to think about, if you are resuming exercise too quickly after you have your baby, you are definitely at risk. Anytime we are working muscles that aren't ready to be worked yet, we can cause a condition that can definitely hurt us in the long run. So on that note, make sure you are checking with your doctor first and foremost before we jump into the next workout. Check with your doctor. And then also I want you to make sure that you are getting cleared by a doctor before you do any kind of exercise postpartum. All right, who wants to jump into the workout? I do. Let's go.